Hey everybody, how you guys doing today? My name is Nick, otherwise known here as Avialence, and welcome to an Elder Scrolls Online discussion. So this time we're going to be discussing launch week. I've got some background B-roll going from my various adventures in the game so far while we discuss this. Now, I have enjoyed this. This is an MMO launch experience that I've enjoyed. Typically, as many of you MMO players know, or anyone who's played an online game, especially in the PC, right, they have rugged launches. The MMO launches are always rough, and it's something we always fear, right, because we don't know if we're going to be able to log in, if all the quests are going to work, if there's going to be any bugs, if we're going to get rollbacks, things of that nature. And I have to say that the first 2 days, Elder Scrolls Online was great. I had the 5-day early access. I got to start on Sunday, and I played for about 7-8 hours on Sunday, got around level 8 or so, and from there, had a great time. Now, Monday and Tuesday night, I barely got any playtime in, and then tonight, Wednesday night, when I'm actually recording this, I was able to go ahead, push it out, get to level 10, almost 11, and do a little bit of PvP, which is actually quite exciting. I did not do PvP in the beta, so it was nice to get in there. It's a huge map, and it's really enjoyable. Now, as far as the game goes, though, this is launch week, and actually, we hit some problems. My expectations were not high, right? I figured I'd get in, play the game a couple hours this week, and then by next week, maybe the week after, everything would be fixed, and it would be a solid experience. Now, those first 2 early access days, extremely solid experience. However, when they opened 3-day early access, and we got a massive influx of players, because basically those are all the people who did not buy the collector's edition, but pre-ordered the game, right? The Imperial edition got you that 5-day early access. And once all those people who pre-ordered got in, man, we had some issues. There was actually a 12-hour server downtime on the North American server Tuesday night. It kicked up around midnight. I had just finished some schoolwork, and I was like, all right, well, let's log into ESO, get some gameplay in, and have some chillbacks, maybe even stream a bit. And I couldn't log in. I actually logged in once, I believe, and it said server's going down for extended maintenance or scheduled maintenance in a minute or whatever, and then it kicked me out immediately. So that was like my kick out. And it was down from what I hear, between 12 a.m. and 2 a.m. In between those times. Some people were getting kicked, some weren't. And it was down until around 2 p.m. the next day. The North American server, that is. I've heard that the EU server was down as well. I've seen it on some Reddit posts and stuff, but I haven't confirmed it personally. So the servers were down for 12 hours. Now, that is a huge chunk of time for people who paid for that early access. For the 5-day early access, you know, that's not as substantial because you did get those 2 days of perfect gameplay, right? But for the 3-day early access people, the people who just got into the game, that's a huge chunk of time. So I think that's a little disappointing to see that happen. But again, it is an MMO. They're known for rocky launches. And outside of those server problems, I personally haven't experienced many. Now, I have had a couple cases where my friends have discussed having massive problems going on within the Elder Scrolls Online, right? My buddy Derek, I don't know the whole story behind it, but he actually had to wipe his game and reinstall the entire game because he couldn't download the patch that was available after that 12-hour downtime today. So he's been re-downloading the game, and even though his internet's great, it's been throttling it, I suppose, and he's only been able to download a small amount of megabytes a second, so it's taking him forever. So I feel really bad for it because he bought the game, he bought the 5-day early access, and he's only been able to play a couple hours due to work, and then of course the massive problem going on tonight. So I was surprised by that. I didn't expect that to kind of hit. I wish that the early access had been very smooth across the whole thing, but I think a lot of people pre-ordered this game, and I think that most of the numbers already in the game, most of the people who actually are going to be playing the game. That's one thing too that I'm not like super concerned about, right? If you pre-order the game, you got early access. That's how that works, whether it's 3 days or the 5 days for the Imperial Edition owners. And when it comes down to it, most people nowadays, I feel, pre-order the game before going out and purchasing it, especially with ESO, especially MMO players too. You know if you want to play an MMO beforehand and you don't pre-order the game. At least that's what I've heard from and seen in my experience. So a lot of people have been speculating that when Friday hits and the game does launch, we're going to have another massive wave of server issues. Now, I personally don't think this is going to happen, as since the patch came out after that 12-hour downtime, it's been very stable. A lot of issues have been fixed. I haven't been kicked from the game at all, and the only time I actually was kicked from the game was that server initial downtime, right, where it said, oh, we got maintenance, poof, right, and that was Tuesday night. So as far as all day Wednesday, I haven't been kicked at all, but I have experienced a couple in-game problems that I think are worth mentioning, right? I've gotten some bad latency. This is something that I didn't expect, especially in some of the areas, but it seems like it's really in populated areas, and that's one thing that I think you're going to encounter with these mega server based MMOs, which is pretty much what all MMOs are playing at this point. Now, what I mean by that is, when I first got into the game on Sunday, the big capital cities were the ones that I had a lot of latency problems with, right? There's hundreds of people in those cities at one given time, plus all the NPCs, and that makes sense, right? My frames significantly dropped, and I had some latency issues, but totally understandable. Totally understandable, right? It's the big cities. Now, when I went out into the world and did my quests and went through my areas, not a single problem. Held around 60 frames, 50. I think it's 55 to 60. Then again, I'm not running the best GPU either. So, it's something that I figured was great. Now, after this patch, at post-patch in this 3-day early access, so we did have that patch after the 12-hour maintenance, my frames have been deteriorating in certain open-ended areas. Now, granted, I'm recording with Fraps. Again, I don't have the best GPU in the world, but to have that significant of a drop at certain points in the game, a little depressing. I know it could be due to those, those more populated areas, right? But there's areas where I was totally alone and I was having tons of issues. Now, outside of that, I haven't encountered a lot of bugs. I've had 1 or 2 quests that have been messed up, but when I was playing the last beta weekend, right before this beta, or right before the game launched this week, there were tons of quest issues. All of those have been fixed, almost all of them. I think I've encountered 2 bug quests at this point, and I've put about 12 to 15 hours of game time in here. Granted, a lot of that's exploring instead of actually questing, because I am only level 10, right? I've been doing a lot of construction, getting some different characters set up, and just really trying to enjoy the game and take it all in. But it's been solid. I've spent a lot of time crafting. I've been working on enchanting, because I didn't quite experiment with that in the beta. I've also worked with alchemy too, but my blacksmithing and my clothing, or clothier I think it's called, are coming along, and I've had no issues. The game runs great, and I am playing on around medium settings. I have with the GPU, I'm still running a single fan GPU, so it's nothing that I didn't expect, but the game runs great. I'm enjoying the game. All the features work. We did have some guild downtime. Again, that was during that 12-hour downtime where actually all guild features were disabled. You couldn't access the guild store. You couldn't talk to your guild mates, which I found was a little crazy. And all the guild stuff was actually totally done. So that was a little interesting. We also had social features turned off and mail turned off. That was a big thing. Now, granted, I'm playing this game solo, so I don't think it's too big of a deal for me personally. But I can definitely understand, coming from a MMO player's perspective, especially someone that's grouping with a lot of people, you want to have access to the mail, you want to have access to guild. I get that. So again, I think those are 2 very interesting features that crash and burn at the beginning. But one thing I tried to look at it take eyes and really look at the game with is you're able to play. You're able to play the game. You're not getting constantly kicked out, which is something that I think is a little bit of a godsend, to say the very least. Most of the quests work. Most of the stuff worked. And for a game that I was quite worried about when I played the last beta 2 weeks ago, and it was still having this many problems before launch, they've really fixed a lot of the stuff. Now, I really enjoyed the humor that they had thrown in here, the developers, while they were working on the game. After the 12-hour patch was actually deployed, if you were on within the first 30 minutes, they played, well, they didn't play, rather, it would have been great if they played it, but they used quotes from the Lego movie, which was great. The everything is cool quote, everything is awesome, and it was great. I believe the text that displayed on the server message across my screen was in bright yellow, and it said, everything is awesome, and server maintenance was done, and they're bringing back the guild functionality. And I don't know if the mail functionality is back up at the point I'm filming this video, but I'll be sure to confirm that in a later one. So, overall, early access has been okay. I've enjoyed it. I've got my Khajiit Nightblade going. I've got a lot of builds that I'm working on. Most of the quests work, and I am enjoying my time with ESO. I'm really excited to get my better GPU later this month, so I'll be able to play it with a higher frame rate, of course, and also up those graphics. But I'm enjoying the game. I think it works well for what it is, and so far the MMO launch hasn't been as bad as it could have been, and that's something that I really wanted to throw out in this video. So thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button, and feel free to subscribe to this channel if you're looking for a good guide to chat with video games about. I do my best here. But that's about it, guys. So thank you so much for watching, and feel free to hit me up on ESO at Avialence. You can add me to your friends list, and I'd be happy to do some gaming with you. Have a good week, guys, and enjoy the rest of your ESO early access.